Thank you. So, do we have the bans?
Yeah. So from CPV, they the rune got banned, and from Disastra the portal got banned. So we're
Yeah,
going to see some forest play.
yeah, predictable. Again, both teams are playing mid-range lineup, so Portalcraft and Runecraft are the best choices to play against those types of decks. Which to me, I'm just gonna say I'm very excited, very hyped because this is my favorite type of meta, mid-range going at each other. So yeah, ban the control decks. I don't want any of those shenanigans. Just give me the mid-range mirrors. That's all I want.
Mid-range matchups can be a lot of fun. There's usually a lot of decisions to be made in those kind of matchups. With are you the aggressor, are you the defender, and what do I need to do to win this game and to assert my dominance in this game?
And it starts from the mulligan. Honestly, we saw a very aggressive mulligan. I believe Disastra is on the bottom, if I'm not mistaken, because they had the looks. They threw away the looks, which to some might seem weird because why would you throw a 2-drop? Because in this mirror in particular, yep, in this mirror in particular, you do not want 1/2s as your 2-drops. They're very weak, easy to deal with. When you go second, you allow Hedgehog into Lancer to blow you out, kind of like we saw with Snow White. And also because Disastra is running Lux as a 4-drop, so you wouldn't keep a 4-drop like Lux in this particular matchup going second, because they just want to make sure they draw their Sky Fortresses or their Arthurs
Going
with
second,
Alex.
going second here, you do not at all want to pass. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and we might see a Valse with the Fatal Spellbomb. I believe that's a choice they're going to go for, because in this matchup, Fatal Spellbomb is the best choice. Yep, and it's gonna be rough for Disaster to come back from this position, because they will play their Valse as well, and they will give opportunities for CPV to go wide and not be as affected by this Queen Chimera.
They do, however, have this the White Queen Chimera, and it's gonna be able to double trade. It's gonna be able to trade over one thing. You can evolve the knight that it summons and trade over another thing. So that will be a nice way to grab the board back.
How do you feel about Waifu Gino, Zero? What do you
Um,
want to say about it?
I'm just astounded that they somehow managed to print a new Geno and make it actually better than the old Geno.
If they told you, we are going to print a Geno that's good on the draw and on the play, how much would you pay Cygames?
I would just look them in the eye and say I don't even think it's possible, but they did it.
Just, I thought you were gonna say, take my money. Yeah, just take all of it.
Take all my
of
vials. Give
money.
me all the Genos.
Just reprint Geno. Then we have 2 Genos.
So what do you think they do here? Okay, so they go with the spell bomb, and I wonder if we're just gonna
Yeah.
see a Tempo Kahulin. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to save the Celia for the next turn. This is just again, this is the best Shadowverse you're probably gonna see in your life. This is a bold claim, but I stand by it just because if you never played it with 3 players at the same time, you should. It's one of those experiences that will blow your mind, and I believe that this is actually, honestly, the best Shadowverse you can see tournament-wise. Honestly, this format should be played a lot more often because to me is the most fun to see and cast.
Oh,
Ooh,
whoa, that
interesting.
seems very strange to me. I wonder what the thought process was, or if that was just a mistake.
It might have been a misclick because they stopped now, so they
Yeah,
might have exited.
I was wondering if we might have seen the shame concede there. That's
But anyways, just as this is Caster's Curse. I was just saying best Shadowverse ever, and it just happened. Although it might not be too bad because a 5/3 is not easy to deal with, right?
yeah,
So
that might have been intentional. But actually, 5/3 is pretty easy to deal with here because there is that
with
White Ridge
Luminous,
Swordsman.
yeah, or Luminous Mage actually. I like Luminous Evolve Luminous Knight, and then just kill that 5/3.
I'm thinking in this matchup you're probably not going to get too many other good chances to play out and get the trigger off of your White Ridge Swordsman. Whereas Luminous is
Uh,
pretty flexible throughout the game.
I'm a bit more greedy on this mirror, but I never played with White Ridge Swordsman, so they chose to go for the tempo. I would like to see it being saved for the Sky Fortress target. That's my thing. Because exactly, this is what I was gonna say. Because Cahulan and Fatal Spellbomb is a very mean way to deal with that White Ridge Swordsman, and you can even go with your Hedgehog and just kill another thing and make a big target.
But if you do go with this Cahulan and Spellbomb, you are at best still going to be up behind on board when you pass the turn back.
No, you actually be ahead because you have it's a one body against one body. Oh, okay, they chose to go with the Gawain possibly. This is something I don't like. You're spending an Evo and you're not getting ahead on board.
You're cheating some play points a little bit though. So maybe they're trying to set up this Sky Fortress, just trying to get that ready as soon as possible. They do have a Lancer and a Luminous Mage to try to fight for board a little bit next turn.
It's just that they don't have a good target for the Sky Fortress. So if we went with the Hedgehog, we would have a 5-3 Hedgehog against a 2-1 Cahulan, which to me makes a lot more sense than this situation, right?
Yeah, they would have a bit of a stronger board. They'd at least have something on board. But that something would have gotten eaten up by this Luminous Mage. I think I would have liked to see the Celia here rather than the Luminous Mage. I guess they want to save it as a win condition instead.
They also want to. This is one of those lure your opponent into removing your board into Arthur. So what I mean by that is that you don't want to get a sticky board in this turn. You don't want to play Celia because she's a lot more sticky than Luminous Mage because you want to activate your Arthur next turn.
My thinking was if you do set up that sticky Celia board, you can actually just pressure with the Luminous Mage and evolving the Knight just to push a whole lot of face damage.
Instead of Arthur.
Yeah.
Okay. I would be on the side of playing Arthur, just because I believe Arthur is the strongest by far play you can do in the mirror.
Yeah, it's
very hard
to deal with.
Yeah, very hard to deal with, especially with Sky Fortress as a follow-up.
I like to take the sword matchup a little bit slow. I'm a interesting person. Oh, actually, that's not even slow. That's like going as monkey as you possibly can. So.
Yeah, you just said pressure with Luminous Knight instead of Arthur, so Arthur draws you 4 cards, so I guess that is taking it slow.
Yeah, all right. I'm just a liar.
See, had we gotten the 5-3 Hedgehog, I feel we would be in a better position. Because now it's just a clear, Arthur, go.
Whoa.
Oh.
Is this just lethal?
Oh, yeah.
It's one off.
No, it's lethal. It's 2+2.
Oh, wait. I'm looking at the Skyship. I wasn't even looking at the Celia.
No, Skyship cannot be played.
Yeah, it can't even be played. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't even notice that we had 10 health. I was just paying attention to the trades, and I just see 10 health. I'm like, oh, okay, got it.
So that's sometimes the sword mirror can go really, really long, and then other times that just happens where the player dies kind of fast.
It's when you go second and you lose a 2-drop, just shuts you down. Throwing that looks away might seem good, but it costed them in this situation, I think.
The Lux is like the weakest 2-drop you could have in
this
situation is
true.
the thing. Lux is like she's a 2-drop, but she's more like card draw than anything. She's not really gonna fight for board too well.
I still think that is correct to throw it away. Don't mistake just because what I mean is that it costed them because they didn't get a 2-drop. It doesn't mean that Lux would have been a stronger one, but yeah.
And there she is. There's the Lux.
And Haven is going second, which is with this hand is very, very good. With the Priest of the Cudgel is one of the best ways you have to stop sword.
Yeah, the only thing this hand is really looking for is something like a Gemstone Carapace or a Snow White right now.
Mhm. And again, we saw this before. If you get the Snow White, it's risky because if there's a Lancer of the Tempest or a Momo, it's very hard to come back.
That might even be better than Snow White there,
Yeah,
or
I think so.
Carapace. Just able to get rid of the Hedgehog.
You just wanna slow and steadily get to that turn 4 where you just start playing the game.
Yeah, or you just start 2 for 1 of your opponent every single turn.
I wonder, I'm kind of curious. I've been taking Holy Bomb in this matchup. I'm kind of curious to see what they go for.
When I play Vaults, I notice I most often the first time I play Vaults, I grab the not the Spell Bomb, the Fatal Spell Bomb.
Fell to the
And
Spell Bomb.
yeah, and once it gets like past turn 7 or 8, that's when I become more willing to pick up the Holy Pure Bomb.
Mhm. I've tried both. I think that Fatal Spell Bomb is stronger before the Evo turns. Because your opponent is gonna evolve something, and it's most likely gonna have 3 health. So I'm with you. I think that Holy Bomb is a lot stronger after the Evos, just because things will be larger, and there's not gonna be a lot of trades happening, or not as easily when you have no Evo points.
Once the Evo turns are over, uh, Pure Bomb is kind of like an Evo because it's just able to take something out immediately.
Mhm.
Whereas the Spell Bomb isn't as valuable in the late game.
Yet again, another very good draw. So good so in fact that you might even not have. Yeah, I was gonna say you might not even have value from your priest. So they're assessing that and they're beautifully passing the turn because of that. They just want to get value from their priest of the cudgel instead of just playing 2 cards and then not even going for it. Unless they wanted to go for the Pegasus dual hand instead of the priest of the cudgel, which could also be an option.
So one thing I like to do is I like to tempo play my Jean on turn 3 with Haven. And that's something that I see a lot of other people disagree with. And evidently CPV also disagrees with this one. Or Disastra rather.
I
Disagrees with
think they
this.
were expecting a fatal spell bomb would
That
shut
makes
down
sense.
that play.
Mm-hmm.
They chose not to evolve. Interesting. So they didn't blacken scripture last turn to blacken scripture this turn. That to me is questionable. Maybe they were expecting to see something else on turn 4. Maybe a Gawain instead. Not a Gawain, I'm sorry. Maybe. What else could they see on turn 4 that made them change their mind? Interesting.
Maybe just like a better, like a 3-drop or a 2-drop, just something a little more valuable than a 1/2 Lux, I think is what they were digging for. But just the tempo of having a cudgel would be pretty nice.
I
They,
love this evolve. I think it's very strong. I think that CPV was very greedy on the previous 2 turns actually. The first turn made sense. The second one didn't make sense that because you were setting up a play and then you didn't go for it.
so
Always question those decisions.
do you think they're going to trade this Tin Soldier into the Celia or into the Lux? Trading into the
Uh,
Celia.
yes.
Super.
Again, you want to dodge the 3 health.
Mm-hmm. That's
The,
super heads up.
yeah, the 3 health, and she's also a commander, which might not yet, but might come up later for the cards like Sky Fortress, or possibly another Celia to bounce it. But that would be really, really late game.
Maybe we'll see
I
something like this Gawain evoed over the turtle, and then trading and spellbombing.
I would go for White Rage Swordsman, and I think I would use my Spell Bomb this turn.
Oh yeah, I think that's actually
Uh,
better.
Next turn, I'm expecting them to play a Tea Time, another Tea Time, or a Priest of the Cudgel.
Yeah, once you get into that like Haven
Yeah,
mid
this
game,
is this is this is even better. You save your 3/4.
yeah, this is really good. And you're not even walking into Cudgel or Tea Time. They're not particularly good plays on this board.
And next you have Arthur into Arthur, and you just need Sky Fortress to seal the deal. That's when I play this matchup. I'm very uncomfortable if I don't see a Sky Fortress, at least one Sky Fortress. But this is why White Mage Swordsman has helped a lot Disastra and CPV whenever they got it, because it's such a powerful mid game push before your Arthur turn.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, we thought maybe this was to help out with the Haven matchup, and it seems like that's what it's doing. Haven can't deal with the 4/5. It's got Bane, so if they're going to be evolving their Cudgel or evolving their Tea Time, it's going to die immediately, and they're not going to be getting that insane tempo that Cudgel and Tea Time usually generate.
And I think they're forced to go for that one, which is again, this is the power of 2-for-1s is that yeah, you're out of evos, but if your opponent has to spend their evos to basically suicide or evenly trade, you're very comfortable with that.
And that Evo on that Lux has gotten in 6 damage so far.
Yeah. And it's gonna get more, but no, Lightjon is probably gonna be the answer to this. Arthur possibly. You could also go for a Valse, but that doesn't pair up with anything else you have in your hand.
Tempo play Holy Bear Knight. The problem with that is you get kind of blown out by that last Priest of the Cudgel. It will get
the problem with yeah. Also, the problem with that is that you're playing 7 play points for a 4/4 ward compared to Heavenly Knight.
Definitely a kind of weak turn.
I think you go for Arthur. You don't mind, like your hand is so weak that you want to stop drawing 2-drops. I think I just want to draw them with my Arthur. John is gonna be a thing, but you don't mind John if you play. I was laughing at it, but he actually went with with the Valse, because what I think is I want to see Sky Fortress, right? So I just want to thin the 2-drops so I see my Sky Fortresses.
Yeah, instead they're just going for a somewhat wide board that does get pretty easily answered by this John. But if they do want to get rid of the Gawain, they're gonna have to evolve that John. So pretty good play. It's actually putting their last evolve under some good pressure, unless they're willing to give up the trigger on that Gawain.
They were also thinking that they could have pulled a Kuhulan, and Kuhulan might be important in this matchup. They might not want to throw it away like that without value from the rush even and the enhance effect. But it's risky that I am playing against Avon on turn 8 and I have 28 cards in my deck. That's something that worries me, because the longer the game goes, the more chances you give your opponent to get their Aether of the White Wings on Heavenly Knights.
Yeah, we do see there's already one Aether kind of just waiting. So what do you think we're going to see here from Disastra? They're not in the best spot, I feel.
I would like to go for the Priest of the Cudgel and develop my Summit Temple. I'd like to keep my John for the Arthurs.
Because they want to just hold this.
Oh, this is so good. This is perfect.
That was an incredible top deck.
Let's see if he goes for it.
And he's just clearing. Doesn't even want the face damage.
Yep. This is just an Arthur. You just saw Lightjon going, and if your opponent plays the second Lightjon, you can play double Queen, and that is devastating. Trust me, that is my most favorite Gawain play, is to spell boost my Chromatic Duel and just go wide, and even just cries at it.
You know what else you can do next turn? You can enhance that Holy Bear Knight and play the Queen Magnus.
Get out of here. So the previous turn, I would have liked to see Priest of the Cudgel and Snow White and Summit Temple, just because that would completely stop an Arthur turn.
I don't think they wanted to give up their last Evo yet. One thing I find with Haven is you kind of need to time your Evos really well in the sword matchup. Otherwise, I feel like you can just lose control of the board.
But you're gonna evolve now though, so it's the same thing. But I would have a Snow White and a Priest of the Cudgel.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think
Well, not a Priest of the Cudgel because Kahulin from Arthur would have been able to kill it. But I would have a Snow White and a Summit Temple, and then Lychan would just clean the house.
yeah, so now you're just out of AoEs, and there's another Arthur just coming. I wonder if we're going to see it now.
Yep.
Yeah, and this spell bomb is going to be good. It's just going to be able to grab
Yep.
the Jean.
That's probably game.
There's no way to clear this anymore. Unless
'Cause
there's a third
if-
Jean off the top.
It doesn't matter because if you have the third John, you just go double queen into Holy Bear Knight and Lancer of the Tempest, and you just like your opponent cannot AoE again.
Yeah. No, this is not a good spot. So they're just digging, trying to find an out with that Mariah, and they're not going to. I love how long Sword can take the game now.
With no Albert, which is interesting too.
Well, Albert kind of forced them to be this rushdown deck where they wanted to end the game by 9 because of how powerful the enhance effect was on Albert. Now that they don't have that anymore, they don't have Albert like warping how they build their deck to the same way they used to.
That's lethal.
Yeah, Luminous is just going to close this out.
Again, man, these Avon players and lists are having a lot of trouble dealing with White Ridge Swordsmen. Like, there's no tribunal. There's no efficient way. Maybe IT is the way to go, man. Oh wait, she dies as well.
Yeah.
It also dies.
You got to
No way.
time your Mariah Enconiums. That's the way you deal
Yes.
with it. So now we're
Exactly.
going to see Haven versus Forest. So last time we saw this matchup, we saw the Forest win, but we also saw some interesting plays from the Haven that may have led to them losing control of that game.
CPV2. They gotta step up their game if they want to take this one.
I just realized how clever that name is because V2 isn't actually on CPV. So this is part of CPV plus V2.
Yeah, I realized that immediately when I saw it. It's CPV with V2. CPV2. They fuse. It's Go Tanks.
That's clever, man. That's good. All right, so we got a lot of 2-drops. I feel whenever I play Haven, I'm always happy when I see a lot of 2-drops in my hand. Though here, I don't think I want the Scripture or the Morai.
Mm-hmm. It's a matter of if you go first or second for the Black and Scripture. If you go second, there's a chance you can go for that.
Against Forest, Black and Scripture tends to be a little underwhelming. Usually just grabs like a fairy. Sometimes it'll grab a 2-2.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can grab like an Insect Lord to stop it from being bounced, but that's not the highest impact Black and Scripture.
Taking a really long time. I mean, I can't fault him. I mean, this is the winners finals. There's just one game away from the prize pool actually, so it's an important game.
So Fashionista Nelka, a card that I think a lot of people were pretty hyped about and then really didn't see too much play the first couple weeks of the expansion. Maybe it's finally getting there.
I think it's because Forest wasn't the most impressive deck to be played. They had White Wolf rotate, which was a big impact, so a lot of people fell from Forest's horse. But now, slowly and steadily, we'll see it being played again, especially in metas where Portalcraft is a thing. Wood of Brambles is just a nightmare.
So last turn we saw that Black and Scripture on a 2-2, which is like one of the best Black and Scripture targets you can get against Forest.
Do you think we'll see the Snow White here?
Um,
Or do you think the Gemstone will be the first one?
What do you think about the Jean? Just to tempo.
Nah,
Right?
against
No.
Forest, no way.
It
No
does
way.
get kind of messed up by the wooded brambles, or it can also just get messed up by that airbound. I think I would go with the gemstone carapace here.
Me too. I think that the only way I would like to play Princess into Carapace is if it's on 2 and 3. If it's on turn 3 and I'm going second, I like to establish my Carapace into my evolve turn. Because if you play the Snow White, it's easy for Forest to kill it completely, and then you don't get value from your Carapace ever. You'll be forced to play Carapace on 5 because you want to evolve Priest on 4 most of the times.
The power of Carapace, the power of that 3/5 turtle is the earlier you get it in the game, just becomes much harder to deal with. So if you give your opponent more time to set up and get prepared for the Carapace, it won't work out quite the way you want it to.
Yeah, I really like this play. You were expecting a Priest of the Cudgel. You saw your opponent just think about it for a really long time and then play a Carapace. You know he's going to evolve an important target next turn.
Yeah, this is leaving at least something up on board. And actually, it's setting you up to Airbound Barrage your...
Brambles.
Yeah, your Brambles.
And then just replay it. Just keep going with that train. Another option is Fascination Elsa and drop the health of the turtle. But then you would lose your Brambles, which to me is very important. It's basically your early and your mid game.
Well, you can just go Brambles. You can go Airbound the Brambles, and then you can just play out the Nelka.
Yeah, but you don't get the effect of the dress immediately. That's what I was talking about. Because my other line of play would be to dress the turtle and then kill it. But you'd lose your Brambles that way.
I think we're gonna see the Airbound and the Nelka here because you can evolve it over that turtle and keep control of the board.
Yeah. I would go. That would be my line. That would be my line of play.
You have 3 Jungle Wardens, which is pretty good. Like, you have your late game now, but you still need to get there. You need to figure out the safest way to get there while holding as many Jungle Wardens as possible. You don't want to play out your Jungle Wardens in your late game because they become so much better in the late game.
It's unfortunate that your hand is essentially 3 cards for the reason you just mentioned. They want to see Cassiopeia, Venus. I believe they're running 3 Venuses. So they definitely want to see those cards. I think they're going to take the Black Dress. They didn't take the Black Dress on this matchup, actually, previously, which surprised me. But I expect them to, at this point, take the Black Dress. It's the safest option.
Yeah, and that's what they're going with here. I think last time the reason they didn't go with the Demon's Dress is just because they were in more of an aggressive position where they could deal with whatever their opponents were playing.
Yeah, they were ahead on board with with Jungle Warden as well, and their opponents were basically top decking.
So what do you do now if you're Disastra?
See, man, this is what we're seeing more and more. This even lists are falling apart sometimes when they just don't get their 2-for-1s. They don't get their tea time. They don't get their Serenian. It just becomes harder to establish control.
It's a little Daria-esque where if they don't get that early game that they need, they kind of fall apart.
We're seeing even Forest that it's not known for their incredible early game, especially lists like these. Just with the simple Brambles and Barrage, which is, let's be honest, it's probably the strongest options Forest has. Just being a pain to deal with.
Here on this turn, you're just really wishing you had a tea time. Tea time would be so efficient here, or just a cudgel, just a way to get rid of this 3 HP follower. You don't really have a way to do that though. You don't have Black in Scripture, you don't have your tea time, you don't have your cudgel. Bit of a tight spot.
Ooh, that is a good one. That makes you very capable of killing that Snow White in case you want to. I expect it to be ignored, but still, it pushes a lot of damage.
If you're willing to just give up the Demon's Dress just to use it as a spell, you can go. Well, actually, it's really not that
No, you
great.
can you can play you can fill your board with Brambles and Elf Song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think
that's
it's what they're going for. I would actually not even be surprised if they chose to evolve the fairy, honestly.
if you're evolving here, I would like to play out the rain, but you can't. It's kind of tight if you want to do that.
You don't want to, nah, because you don't need to kill the Snow White. In fact, you don't even want to kill the Snow White. If you kill the Snow White, you allow your opponent to uh, get a 2/2 instead and evolve the turtle. And I think you want to make Avon trade into you, not trade into Avon,
Mm-hmm.
especially with this type of board. I just go evolve face. 2/4/4s. We all know how nightmarish that is for Avon.
Yeah, actually, they'd have quite a bit of trouble dealing with that. I still think I'm a little bit more on the side of I'd like to hold my evolve because I do have that rain and I want to get more value out of that rain.
This is very difficult.
The Snow White
You're-
can deal with a couple things, but
Only one. Uh, only that's why this health song was major, because that means that Snow White is not capable of killing the Nelcha.
mm-hmm.
That is massive.
One thing about the Serenian Hind list, and that I see ends up mattering a lot more than you would think, is your Aether is going to pull Serenian Hind and not Priest of the Cudgel. And here you would love to be able to just Aether, grab Priest of the Cudgel, trade your Snow White into the Nelka, and then just banish the Nelka. But that's not even an option you have to anymore.
Yeah, this is very painful. Imagine if you had evolved, though. I would like to evolve. That would just mean that your opponent would have another 4/4 to deal with. You couldn't kill them all. So that evolve would have pushed 2 extra damage.
Alright, this isn't a bad play. But this Demon's Dress is going to get some serious value here. It's just going to be able to clean up that turtle. And that Brambles is still going to be up too, so it's like turtle's not going to get any value here.
And fun fact, if you had the white dress and you had evolve last turn, you would have lethal this turn.
You were the one saying that you wanted them to take the black dress, Mr. Oscar.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have to. Dude, let me tell you, the amount of times I miss lethal with Forest because of 1 damage makes me think about white dress a lot because it's been happening a lot. But yeah, it's just, I mean, you were in the game plan of getting to 10, so
Yeah.
that's what you committed when you chose that Demon's Dress. You also didn't know you were gonna get the Elf Song and that your opponent couldn't deal with an Elcha, so it just makes sense.
At the time, your hand was triple Jungle Warden, so it kind of seemed like you were going to be taking a pretty long game.
Do you Demon's Dress this turtle or do you save it for Heavenly Knight?
I think I would Demon's Dress this turtle, and I would play my Rain, and I would just grab the board here.
Also, Heavenly Knight, without the Summit Temple and without Storm, it's just a big fat body that you can maybe get another Demon's Dress and or just another Brambles.
Well, I think there were only two demons, 2 Nelkas in the list. So the chances of you
Yeah.
finding your other one is kind of small, almost 1 in 30.
Also, Cassiopeia is very strong. If they play the Heavenly Knight, you have lethal with Cassiopeia. There's a lot of outs. Aaron too would be an out, I think.
Even just a
Yeah.
top decked, just the top deck Brambles would help you clear up a Heavenly Knight pretty well. But this, I think we're gonna see the Jean here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why you kept the Jean on 3, so you could play it on 7.
I still question the decision to not play that Jean because if they had played it, maybe they would have been able to deal with that Nelka just a little bit better. The Jean probably would have gotten hit by that Airbound Barrage a little bit earlier, and it probably would have changed how this game played a little bit. I don't know if it would have actually been enough, though.
You know what I question is the usage of Moriai Encomium. I have never seen throughout this entire tournament Moriai Encomium doing anything relevant. All I remember was being procced by a Carinian once. That was kind of good. It killed a 2/2, I think, and killing a 1/1 or a 1/2 bejeweled or jeweled something.
Morai is the kind of card you have to play as soon as you have any form of breathing room. I like this decision to not evolve here, by the way. I think that's super interesting. You're already in a lot of trouble, and the difference of going down to 1 and 5 probably isn't that much. But yeah, this Lilac is going to be pretty gross.
Yeah. This is probably game. I don't see a way you can kill all the bodies and remove the effect from Lilac. I think there's no. I'm trying to think of the entire collection of Haven, and all I can think of is Themis Degree. Yeah.
Good old Themises.
What else? Tea time?
Not even Saha Isra gets you out of this.
Tea time? No. No, because the Lilac effect.
Yeah, Lilac's effect is super relevant. That's a card that the more I play with Lilac, the more I like the card.
Oh my god, this is tilting. I'm trying to kill this board and I can't. In my head. This is frustrating.
Yeah, there's really not too many ways to deal with it.
Oh, you actually gonna see what's gonna happen. It's that Lilac is gonna be 1 health off Blackened Scripture.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, they got it. They got there.
Yeah. Nice.
So they figured out a way to stay alive. But now they have to go...
Actually forgot the tea time would be a 5/6 win evolve. I thought he couldn't kill the monkey.
And these fairies are actually just going to be enough. I wonder if they're going to play out the last one. Yeah, I like that. I like playing out this last fairy. That's
Yeah,
recognizing
just that 1 damage.
Yeah, recognizing this is... I just need to get there. Just a little bit of
This
chip
is-
damage will get there.
This is clutch. That was good. Good top deck.
It's not enough, though. That Jungle Warden's just going to close it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
So you can trade with your 5/2.
Heavenly Knight is not enough either. Unfortunately, because the fairy is gonna be lethal.
You can Heavenly Knight and trade into one of the fairies. And then that Jungle Warden can double trade into the Heavenly Knight. Now one fairy's going to get through.
MVP, a fairy for the prize pool. Nice.
That animated fairy just getting there.
Watch him kill the animated one. Not even make it there.
Just to make me sad. Otherwise, is there anything else you can do? You can...
You definitely play Moriam first.
Yeah, just see what you draw. But I don't think there's any draws that get you out of here.
Oh.
I shall guide you to glory.
We don't see the fairy winning.
Feels bad, man.
White diamond. Oh, that's crazy. Why? What do you? White diamond? What? No.
White diamond is a little slow here. Does Paula... Paula can't go face, right? They couldn't have gone with the stylish lethal of going Wood of Brambles Fairy Paula for 1 damage to face.
No.
And
Sad.
Forest is gonna get there.
And again, even getting 2-0. 2-0 swept. I don't know, man. This mid game is being lackluster. I don't know if they're getting unlucky. It's possible that sometimes you just don't get the curve you want. But it's been 2 times now.